I played 300 days of Stardew Valley as a perfectionist. My 4 big goals were to achieve perfection, to fully decorate my farm, island farmhouse, and island farm, to fill up this entire area of cindersap forest with 900 diamond crystallariums, and to collect every hat in the game. That's a total of 92 hats. I may have gotten in over my head on this one. I've also got some minor goals in mind, but these should be slightly easier to pull off. This video is the epic finale of a 3-part series, so check out my 100 and 200 days videos if you haven't already, and then watch this one after. The grind for this video was insane, so if you do go on to enjoy it, please tickle the like button and be sure to subscribe. Day 201, Year 2, Winter 5. It's snowing and I've got some chores to do. I collected gems, smelted and put some fire quartz in crystallariums because I'm gonna need heaps of refined quartz. I collected my greenhouse ancient fruit and then assembled all the loved gifts I had on hand into this chest because I need to max out friendship with the entire village in order to reach perfection. Prismatic shards and rabbit's feet were my go-to, as most people love those. I stumbled upon Robin and Demetrius having a domestic battle about tomatoes, and I unhelpfully told them that tomatoes are a vegetable. I then listened to Sebastian whinge about no one taking his programming job seriously. Anyway, I then took stock of all the ingredients I'll need to complete the cooking collection and planted a bunch of stuff that I'm gonna need on Ginger Island. Day 202 began with some starfruit planting, and I also placed down deluxe speed grow on all the crops I planted last night. I then ran around giving out more loved gifts to round out the week. This takes forever, especially when I can't find Alex because he goes to the Flamin' Bath. What a goose. I planted some taro roots as I need these to buy some hats, and then headed to the volcano in search of an ostrich egg. These have a 1 in 9 chance to drop from rare chests. In my 200 days video, I failed to hatch an ostrich, so to redeem myself, my goal is to fill an entire barn with ostriches in this video. It's off to a bad start with that goal though, because I didn't find one. On day 203, I commissioned a coop from Robin and ran around giving out loved gifts yet again. In the process, I got Willie, Caroline, George, and Alex to max friendship. I then made a hat tailoring chest, as there are 35 tailorable hats. I collected all the ingredients I had on hand and wrote a list of all the stuff I needed. I then got kidnapped and taken to a concert at Zuzu City, and this fellow with the green hair absolutely loved it. I rounded out the day in the volcano again, and as well as searching for an ostrich egg, I made a point of killing every tiger slime, as they have a 1 in 1,000 chance of dropping the tiger hat. Anyway, I eventually passed out in the volcano without finding an egg or tiger hat. So you know, I pass out on literally 97% of days, because I'm a bit of a tryhard and I like to use every second of every day. On day 204, I was keen to go about giving everyone loved gifts again, but I was ambushed by an ice festival. Turns out that was a good thing, because the reward for winning the fishing competition was the sailor's cap, another hat off my list. I then stargazed with Maru before another fruitless trip to the volcano. I did my daily gem collection and ore smelt on day 205 before going on a loved gift rampage. I reached max friendship with Pierre, Gus, and Elliot. I told Elliot he should write a sci-fi epic, in response to which he played me some beautiful piano. I then collected 1,157 pumpkin juice and 116 ancient fruit wine and refilled the kegs as I went. I sold all I'd collected for a cheeky 1.4 million gold overnight. On day 206, I collected some iridium cheese, and very importantly, I fixed this random bit of wallpaper I missed when decorating my house. I then bought all the hats I could from the hat rack so that I could take stock of all the hats I still needed to find. Turns out I needed heaps. I hit up the crane game and bagged a bunch of goodies, and then I witnessed Sebastian tickling the underbelly of his motorbike. I gave him a birthday void egg, which brought us up to max friendship. I fished out the day catching a squid and a bream, both of which I'll need for cooking later. On day 207, I made use of that refined quartz I've been collecting and placed 11 solar panels. This marks the beginning of my quest for hundreds upon hundreds of batteries I'll need to craft crystallariums. I hit up Mr. Key's walnut domain and bought his hat, as well as some mushroom tree seeds, one of which I kept to tailor into a hat and 2 of which I planted and fertilized, as mushroom trees have a 1 in 100 chance of dropping the mushroom hat when you chop them down. I combined my burglar's ring with an iridium band, and then got super lucky with 2 rare chests in the volcano, scoring the deluxe pirate hat and some purple boots. I also bought a pink bow from the dwarf while I was there. I finished the day in strength, playing some late night Dungeons and Dragons with the boys. Yeah, the boys. It was fruit time on day 208 and also rabbit time, introducing Fluff, Floof, Fluffy, and Floofer. I'm hoping these floofers will give me plenty of rabbit's feet, because everyone in Stardew Valley loves them for some reason. Personally, if I was given a rabbit's foot, I would assume it was a maniacal threat to my pet rabbit Bartholomew. I then asked Robin for a big coop upgrade, before fishing up 4 carp, a sardine, and 2 shrimps, which I'll need for cooking later. I also got this war basket while I was at it. One of my goals is to fish up all the secret items, so there's one. I then hit up the volcano yet again and had no luck yet again. On day 209, I did Mr. Key's hard mode of the mines quest for what must have been the 3rd time now, earning a cheeky 50 key gems. I then went and had dinner with Jody and the fam, where I slapped down my big old green bass on the floor, just wham down in the middle of the living room. I then experienced some more failure at the volcano. The tiger hat and ostrich egg are very elusive. On day 210, I asked Robin for a deluxe coupe and went on another loved gifts rampage as it was a new week. I reached max friendship with Maru, Abigail, the wizard, and Leah. I then had my annual checkup with Dr. Harv and he told me I have a serious case of ligma. I also saw a bunch of nerds spinning around in circles. I bought 4 more rabbits named Fluff, Floff, Flaff, and Fleff before harvesting some of the produce on Ginger Island. And I know it pretty much goes without saying by this point, but I then went to the volcano and had no luck. On day 211, I continued my rampage of generosity with more loved gifts. In return, Penny fed me toxic food and Maru electrocuted me. Linus paid a visit to Ginger Island, and in the twist of the century, it turns out he speaks parrot just like Leo. After a lovely chat, Leo agreed to make the move to Stardew Valley. I harvested the rest of the stuff on the island farm and replanted starfruit before visiting the winter night market and purchasing this exquisite piece from Lupini. I also caught a blobfish, which I'll use to make a hat. Day 212 was a blessedly lucky day, so I decided to head to the Skull Caverns with Magic Rock Candy and Monster Musk. I killed ghosts for Omnigeodes. I need a whole bunch of these to buy the Magic Turban and Magic Cowboy hat at 333 Omnigeodes each. And I killed Iridium Bats for batteries and got 5. And I of course collected lots of iridium ore. On day 213, I ordered a shed from Robin and then collected all my wine and juice, refilling the kegs as I went until I completely ran out of rhubarbs and pumpkins. I harvested and replanted some starfruit on Ginger Island, placed 5 more solar panels, and chopped down my 2 mushroom trees, but sadly didn't find a mushroom hat. On day 214, I had a morning visit to the volcano, and it proved as unsuccessful as my usual evening visits. I then did the hard mode of the mines yet again. By the way, when I say hard mode, I just mean I used 120 staircases to get to the bottom. I then began preparing my farm for its final form. Until this point, its design had been mostly about efficiency, but I want to make it a bit more interesting. And so I began clearing and tried to work out where my first Junimo hut would go. I continued working on the farm on day 215, and I asked Robin to move some buildings as I was developing a bit of a vision for how I wanted it laid out. I got the second coop and fish ponds out of the way, moved the obelisks up near Grandpa, and the golden clock near the pond. I also asked Robin to upgrade the new shed. I then bought 4 more rabbits, Flop, Flop, Floppy, and Douglas. I harvested a bunch of taro roots on Ginger Island and used them to buy the deluxe cowboy hat from this blue weirdo, which I put on my head and wore into the volcano, but unfortunately it didn't bring me any luck. It was off to the Skull Caverns with best luck on day 216, where I once again collected a bunch of batteries, omnigeodes, and ore. On day 217, I made and placed a bunch of crystallariums to fill with fire quartz, as I need way more solar panels. It was a new week, so I gave out a bunch of loved gifts yet again, reaching max friendship with Harvey and Jody. Harvey told me about his failed dream of becoming a pilot, and I told him of my failed dream to become disciplined enough to exercise more than once a year. I then went to the volcano, and when I spotted this rare chest, my heart began to beat faster and faster. I pushed up the heavy lid, and lo and behold, an ostrich egg popped out. Unbelievable. I chucked it into an ostrich incubator, and I will have me an ostrich soon enough. I collected some batteries on day 218 and then bought an exotic bed and an extra long boy aquarium from Mr. Keith. These will decorate my Ginger Island farmhouse. I then went wild with loved gifts yet again, reaching max friendship with Haley. I popped some monster musk to farm some bat wings, which I'll use to make more monster musk. And once I grabbed a few, I went to the Skull Caverns. On day 219, I went to the Skull Caverns again, this time completing Mr. Key's quest to earn 40 key gems, and managed to get 134 omnigeodes and 6 batteries. On day 220, I crafted and placed 9 more solar panels, harvested and replanted starfruit on Ginger Island, and bought the bluebird mask from the island trader for 30 taro roots. I commissioned my ostrich barn from Robin. I put it over here out of the way for now, and then realized I need 100 fiber for each Junimo hut, so decided to plant a bunch of fiber on the farm. I then continued my design work, preparing space for a Junimo hut here to the left of the animal section. On day 221, it was a best luck day, so after gem collecting and smelting, I ignored the nerds celebrating Christmas and headed to the Skull Caverns. I forgot my monster musk, and I also ran out of explosive ammo, so it was a bit of a doozy, but I still managed to collect a fair bit of ore. I harvested and replanted a bunch more island starfruit on day 222 and placed 9 more solar panels. I then collected all the wine and juice from my kegs, replacing them with starfruit, ancient fruit, and a bunch of other random fruit as I went. I finished the day clearing more of the farm in preparation for its updated design. On day 223, I tended my animals for once and then continued working on my farm. One big change was replacing this pathway because I decided the old path was ugly. I filled up my new shed with furnaces because I'm gonna need to smelt a ridiculous amount of gold and iridium ore. I wrapped up the day with a cheeky purchase of 3,000 explosive ammo. On day 224, I placed 13 more solar panels and killed some tiger slimes. This is something I try to remember to do daily, as I still need that tiger hat. I crafted 38 crystallariums and added them to this shed. Task 1 is to fill this up with jade and ruby crystallariums before I begin on my diamond project down in Cindersap Forest. I then bought 5,000 gold ore, 2,500 coal, and 2,000 iron ore from Clint, which was painful as it cost about 5 million gold, but I definitely need all this for solar panels and crystallariums, so it had to be done. I then hit up the mines with monster musk and collected about 200 bat wings. Spring is here. Welcome to year 3. Grandpa haunted me for a bit before I collected the statue of perfection from his shrine. I plonked it down here. I upgraded my barn and gave out a bunch of loved gifts, bringing my friendship with Penny, Demetrius, Jazz, and Kent up to max. Vincent taught me to clean my spring onions. Good one, Vincent. After some chores, I gave out loved gifts again on day 226, reaching max friendship with Sandy. Only 3 more to go, the dwarf, Vincent, and Leo. I accepted a quest from Evelyn to get George 12 leeks, took some cow photos with Haley, and then I helped Leah pick fruit from this big tree. I then taught these gremlins about the beautiful art of farming. I hit up the crane game and got myself the little sapling poster and a wall basket plant. I then watched the little sapling and learned a deep lesson about the importance of rain. I finished the day working on the farm some more, prepping spots for Junimo huts to either side of the pond. On day 227, I had the wizard magically place 4 Junimo huts. I also moved some other buildings around, tweaking the positioning of this coop, moving this pond to over here, and then I got snookered by a truffle blocking the door when I tried to put this barn back in place. I guess I'll move it back later. At this point, I decided I'd better work on the polyculture achievement to ship 15 of each crop, because getting this achievement is a prerequisite to getting the cowpoke hat. So I worked out what I needed and bought a bunch of seeds from Pierre and planted them all on Ginger Island. On day 228, I collected some batteries, killed some slimes, and bought this volcano photo from the island trader for 5 mangoes. Bargain. I then crafted lots of crystallariums. The shed is now full and it'll be half jade, half ruby once I finish filling them all up. I then worked on the farm, figuring out the design of these Junimo crop areas. On day 229, I greeted my newly hatched ostrich big bird. How cute. I then planted some spring wild seeds, as I need those 12 leeks for my boy George. I finished up some work on the Junimo areas, crafted and placed some more sprinklers, and looked with pride upon my handiwork. And I planted a bunch of strawberries as I figured I'd better put these Junimos to work. On day 230, it was off to hard mode skull caverns yet again. I somehow got 318 omni geodes, which is glorious. And can I say, that is a lot of bats. And that is a lot of mummies. I collected batteries and placed even more solar panels on day 231 before buying a butterfly hutch, green turban, and magic cowboy hat from the desert trader. I bought 20 enrichers from Mr. Key. These pop on the top of sprinklers and you can fill them up with fertilizer, which it automatically places when you plant the crops. I planted a bunch more strawberries, did some chores, and plonked down some lighting around the farm. On day 232, I collected a bunch of goods from kegs, but had nowhere near enough stuff to refill them. I then worked on farm design, spicing up this Junimo area with a fence of seasonal plants down here and a line of trees planted either side. Hopefully it looks nice once they've all grown. I gave out loved gifts to the 3 remaining gooses on day 233 and then placed my final solar panels on Ginger Island. I hope this is enough. Spoiler alert, it's not really enough. I harvested a bunch of stuff to sell for the polyculture shipping achievement and planted starfruit. I crafted a few crystallariums and collected these 20 crystallariums, as I don't need refined quartz anymore now that I'm finished with solar panels. And with that, I finally embarked upon my quest to cover this area of Cindersap Forest with crystallariums. It was beautiful to see Leo adjusting well to life in the valley on day 234, so I gave him a duck feather. I also gave the dwarf a rabbit's foot and a pink cake to the birthday boy, bringing me to max hearts with young Vincent. I moved my ostrich barn back to this spot here and bought 10,000 stone as well as 3,000 gold ore, as I'd already used the 5,000 gold ore I bought a few days back. My smelting shed was using up about 600 ore every round of smelting, so I was going through it quickly. By this point, the only cooking recipe I had left to get was the tropical curry recipe. This one is unique in that you can only get it when Gus happens to visit the resort and set up this island store. Well, that day had come, and so I paid him a visit. Now that I'd learned every recipe, I headed home and went on a cooking spree. I was pretty sure my 7 fridges had all the ingredients I needed, and I did manage to cook 50 or so dishes, but it turned out I'd forgotten to get some eels, preventing me from cooking these 2 eel dishes. So close, yet so far. I then tidied up inside my coops and barns, adding some fencing and prepping my ostrich barn for its eventual mayo machines. It was Thursday on day 235, so I figured I'd stock up on deluxe speed row. I bought 3,000. Thanks, Sandy. I grabbed some batteries, harvested and shipped some more stuff from the Ginger Island farm, collected animal produce, and placed some fences. I then began to work on the gold clock area. It was was kind of tricky. Initially, I had some random fences down, but then I was like, nah, that looks a bit wacky, so then I placed some tiles down and planted some trees. It's a start, I guess. On day 236, I harvested and replanted spring wild seeds. Don't worry, George, your beloved leeks will be there soon, you silly old geezer. I harvested the last of the crops I need to ship for polyculture and replanted starfruit. I also chopped down all these random mahogany trees. I built a fence for the rabbit hutch, moved the pig barn a bit, bought 1000 grass starter because I want to make the farm look lush, and redid some fences with grass starter under them. This little trick means the animals can't eat that grass, so it can continuously spread without fear of being chomped. I thought it would be cool to connect my central animal area to this pig barn over here, so I began work on that too. I awoke to the polyculture achievement on day 237. I popped a rain totem to guarantee it rains tomorrow so that I can catch those 2 eels I need for cooking completion, as they only spawn on rainy days. I then hit up Skull Cavern's hard mode for the 69th time, and when I hit level 100, not only did I get my 40 key gems, I also got the A Big Help achievement for completing 40 quests. 2 achievements in one day, very nice. This achievement will allow me to buy the chicken mask. On day 238, I gave Leo and the dwarf loved gifts. This got me to max friendship with Leo. I harvested some strawberries and then stopped because I remembered I have Junimos. It looks like they refuse to work in the rain, but it's fine, they can do it tomorrow. While doing my chores, I discovered my ostrich had grown and laid an egg, so I put it in to incubate. I bought 8 more enrichers and put them on the remaining iridium sprinklers. I also bought some mushroom tree seeds to plant. Haley lost something on the beach, so I whipped out my metal detector and found it for her. And then I discovered Sebastian standing in the rain, talking about how much he loves dark storm clouds because he's so edgy. We then canoodled under his umbrella. After all that madness, it was past 4 PM and rainy. Perfect eel catching conditions. I caught 2 quickly and then returned home and cooked the 2 eel dishes, completing the cooking collection and earning an achievement. I then visited my guy Hat Mouse and bought the chicken mask, cowpoke hat, archer's cap, chef's hat, and elegant turban, all of which were unlocked by the recent achievements I'd gotten. That was 100% of Hat Mouse hats acquired. I then collected some diamonds and placed more crystallariums. I admired my Junimos collecting crops on day 239 before grabbing a bunch of coffee beans I had lying around and whacking them all into kegs. I gave the dwarf his rabbit's foot, collected my coffee on the run home, and turned it all into triple shot espressos. I then checked all the garbage cans. The garbage hat has a 1 in 500 chance of dropping, so I'd better make this a daily habit. On day 240, I was outraged to see that the Junimos were still picking strawberries. How did these absolute peanuts not pick them all yesterday? I did some more farm design work, including tweaking the connection between the farm animal areas and placing paths around the Junimo fields. I also did my now daily trash can run and my daily tiger slime murder spree in this area of the Ginger Island farm over here, and then went to the volcano to hunt down even more slime, but I didn't get any hats. I grabbed some batteries on day 241 before planting 85 cauliflowers because I'd picked up a quest to ship 100 of them, and I'd already shipped 15 when I was doing the polyculture achievement. I collected my strawberries from the Junimo huts and went about plopping them into kegs, along with some starfruit and ancient fruit. I'd been a bit lazy with the money making earlier, but now it was a priority, as I'd already bought 8 stacks of gold ore at 750,000 gold a stack, and I needed heaps more if I had any hope of making all the crystallariums I need. I collected the last of the spring forageables on day 242 and then dropped 12 leeks off in Evelyn's fridge, completing her quest. I planted some cheeky trees behind this shed and tended to my animals. Big Bird still hadn't pooped out a second egg yet. Hurry up, Big Bird, I need to fill this barn with the fruit of your loins. I bought a magic turban from the desert trader and decided to put it on my alien scarecrow, but for some reason it's not magical when he wears it. It's supposed to change colors. Oh well, he still looks very handsome. I then hit up the volcano with a monster mask, hoping to kill heaps of tiger slimes, but unfortunately it didn't pay off this time. No tiger hat. On day 243, I received a coffee machine in the mail as a thanks from Evelyn for inundating her beloved George with leeks. After my daily runaround of tasks, I crafted 56 more crystallariums and placed them, collecting a bunch of diamonds and filling a bunch more crystallariums while I was there. I then worked on the farm some more, getting a start on a little flower honey area and trying to make the overall design flow as best I could. I harvested and replanted starfruit on day 244, bought 3,000 wood and crafted some more beehives to place. I didn't bother planting flowers for now as spring is almost over. I then played around with pathing for a bit, spruced up the area in front of the rabbit hutch, and then got annoyed about how picky fruit trees are about growing, so decided to just destroy these saplings and put some tree seeds down instead. On day 245, I gave the dwarf his final rabbit's foot, finally reaching max friendship with him. I'm pretty sure that should be 100% perfection. I then hopped into the mines farming gold, since it's best luck and I do need lots of gold ore for crystallariums. I eventually got bored and decided to check my perfection status to confirm, and I did indeed have 100%. I wrapped up the day with more farm design. On day 246, I awoke to messages of Grandpa's pride about the eternal significance of my farm, and I heard a rumbling in the distance. I think I think Linus may have farted again. I emerged from my house and a bunch of parrots flew by. I then got distracted and spent ages working on the farm. Eventually, I decided I better wander up to Mount Lewis, and so I did. Lewis gave me a high five, and I watched all manner of creatures zoom past on my screen. And so on day 246, perfection was officially achieved. The summit had been reached. This is actually the first farm I've ever gotten perfection on, so I took a second to savor it. But I've still got 54 days left in this video, and you better believe there are many other spicy things to achieve on the horizon. Not least of all, the ultimate beauty of my farm, which I returned to work on some more. I also noticed another ostrich egg was ready, so I made 2 more ostrich incubators and popped the fresh egg in one of them. After the usual chores on day 247, it was all about trying to finish off the farm exterior. If you haven't worked it out, my approach to farm design is pretty YOLO. I fill my bags with decorative items and just go nuts. I created a little campfire area just south of Grandpa's shrine, and then did the rounds trying to fill in gaps and flesh things out around the place. I really like a functional yet cluttered and colorful vibe, so that's what I was going for. On day 248, I collected about 1.3 million gold worth of goodies from my kegs, and when refilling, I was actually able to fill up every single keg thanks to the Junimo straws. I then collected some batteries, crafted a few more crystallariums, and expanded my crystallarium empire. On day 249, I did Mr. Key's hard mode mines quest yet again for 50 key gems, and then worked on this area south of my furnace shed and lit up the golden clock area. On day 250, I designed this area south of the bunny hutch, and then bought 10 mushroom tree seeds from Mr. Key to plant on Ginger Island. Will these ones drop the mushroom hat for me? Question mark, question mark. I bought 2 golden eggs from Marnie and put 1 in each coop to incubate. These golden eggs become available once you've achieved perfection. And so began my quest to fill up a coop with golden chickens. I then did even more work on the farm, sprucing up this left pond and the farm animal areas with some tiles and lighting. On day 51, I collected 85 cauliflowers and shipped them, completing the quest to ship 100. My second ostrich arrived and I named him Bogbird. I also discovered another ostrich egg which I placed in an incubator. I then rearranged and designed this area right of my house. I didn't really know what to do here, so I just made it look busy and chucked down some lighting. I then began work designing Grandpa's shrine area. I went for a symmetrical vibe here and tried to make it suitably reverent of the old geezer. On day 252, I forgot to record because it's essential I forget to record at least once per episode. I finished up the Grandpa shrine area, and in the process discovered there were a bunch of plants I could have been using from the catalog, so I sprinkled some of those around the place. For example, the bonsai trees, and these 2 tall trees here behind the fence. And just like that, the entire farm exterior was finished, and so was spring. Summertime, baby! Day 253. I figured I better spruce up the greenhouse a bit, so I slapped down some decorations, and it looks fine, so it'll do. I then cleared all the dead strawberries and planted starfruit. Look at the majestic auto deluxe speed grow coming from the enrichers. So handy. I also planted some sunflowers at my honey sprinklers, and hopefully it looks really pretty once they've grown. I decided to adjust my gem shed, replacing the rubies in this right corner with jades, as I am swimming in spicy eels, but I can always use more stairs. I executed a famous Ginger Island starfruit harvest and replant on day 254, and while there I realized I never picked up my statue of perfection, so I grabbed it from Mr. Keys. This thing gives you a prismatic shard every day. I rearranged my stuff in this area so I could showcase my 3 statues, and then hit up the crane game and scored myself a Wumbus statue, Bobo statue, and Wumbus movie poster. I gave Wumbus and Bobo a home over here. I then collected a bunch of diamonds and expanded my crystallarium some more. I decided I needed a better path down here on day 255. I tidied it up a bit, but let's be honest, it's still a mess. I picked up a bunch of truffles, I made some oil, I waxed some slimes, I tickled some bins, and I bought 10,000 stone and 1,000 gold ore towards my crystallarium shenanigans. Say crystallarium shenanigans 10 times quickly. Crystallarium shenanigans, crystallarium shenanigans, crystallarium. I then collected my wine and refilled the kegs. A pair of golden chicks hatched on day 256. I named them Midas and AU. In order to fit these guys in, I'm selling off my old faithful brown and white chickens. It's sad to see them go, but then again, gold chickens are way more baller. An ostrich hatched too. I named it Longboy. I then popped Monster Musk and completed Clint's cave patrol quest to kill 50 dust sprites, and headed to the Skull Caverns to complete Mr. Key's hard mode quest yet again, earning 40 more key gems. On floor 100, I got a dark cowboy hat, which I somehow hadn't acquired until this point, so that was a bonus. In my excitement at having received a most excellent hat, I got sloppy on floor 102 and died. I lost all of my staircases. The temptation to reset the day was strong, but the fact that I couldn't be bothered was stronger. It's a good thing I've got a shed full of jade crystallariums. On day 257, I realized I missed a bunch of Junimo strawberries, so I grabbed them. Thanks fellas. I chopped down my 10 mushroom trees, but didn't get a flaming hat, so I bought 9 more seeds and planted them. I crafted a whopping 79 crystallariums, and filled 12 of them with earth crystals, as I'm gonna need some more for mayo machines. While on my daily bin lurk, I realized I never actually watched the Wumbus movie, so I checked it out. Turns out it's a story about the transcendent power of pizza. I then attempted to catch some lava eels, because I want one for a pond and I need one to tailor a hat for my collection. I caught about 37 tons of lava trash before I even hooked one of the damn things, and then was reminded how flaming hard they are to catch and failed like an absolute boob. So I crafted some trap bobbers, which in my opinion are the best lures to make catching fish easier. Sure enough, when I returned, I caught 2. I chucked one of them in this pond and stored the other in this chest for later. I gave my stingrays a dragon tooth on day 258. They were pleased. I discovered another ostrich had grown up and pooped out an egg, so I put a 3rd egg to incubate. While tending my other animals, I noticed my lava eel pond and wondered why it wasn't red. Isn't it supposed to be red? I bought 3,000 hay from Marnie, 1,500 gold ore and 1,000 coal from Clint, and cracked some geodes and artifact troves to get myself a dwarf gadget and treasure chest, both of which I need to tailor some hats. Day 259 was a secret item fishing rampage. I already had the Gorman frog statue, frog hat, wall basket, and iridium crobus, so I was off to collect the rest. I got the foliage painting here, the squirrel figurine here, the physics 101 painting up here, and while at the volcano I also had a chat with this toasty monkey and he gave me the triple question mark hat. I got the pyramid decal here, and bought some stairs too, and I got this Vista artwork here, a decorative trash can here, and a lifesaver from here. Quite a delightful haul of goodies. I then noticed my sunflowers were fully grown, so I admired my pretty little honey area. I placed down 24 lightning rods on day 260 because tomorrow is going to be stormy and I want some zappy zap batteries. I bought 4,000 stone, crafted 26 more crystallariums, collected diamonds, and placed 93 more crystallariums. I don't know if you've ever noticed, but there are a lot of inconvenient bushes down here, so it's a real pain placing these. My 4th ostrich hatched, and I named it Pidgey. It was a gimme that sunflower honey kind of day 261, which is actually kind of stressful because I don't want to accidentally pick the sunflowers, so I've got to be precise with my clicking. I then completed the no eating Skull Caverns Mr. Key quest, earning 25 key gems, and spent the rest of the day pulling in a juicy haul of ore. Speaking of juicy, I had a pretty juicy battery haul on day 262. I cut down my 9 mushroom trees, but yet again failed to get a mushroom hat, so I bought 5 more mushroom tree seeds to plant and fertilize. Speaking of tree fertilizer, I'd put a hopper and bone mill contraption down at some point, and it was giving me heaps of tree fertilizer. This is very useful because tree fertilizer can be a headache to craft. Anyway, long live bone mills. A golden chicken hatched and I named it Lewis. I then helped the Junimos harvest my starfruit and replant it, and got busy with my kegs. I also gave my lava eels 3 fire quartz. My lava eel pond was suddenly red on day 263, I'm guessing thanks to completing the quest last night. Another golden chicken hatched, which I named El Dorado. I harvested and replanted Ginger Island. I made some oil, finished up with the kegs, smelted, and then headed to the Ginger Island farmhouse to begin working on its interior. I continued working on the Ginger Island farmhouse on day 264, including putting up heaps of art on the walls, putting some choice hats on these sea urchins, sprucing up the kitchen, and putting some danglies behind the fish tank. I spent the entirety of day 265 finishing the island farmhouse. As you can see, it's my classic busy and cluttered style. We've got the bedroom looking spicy. The kitchen and dining is vibrant. And then I've got even more dining over here, which I now realize is a bit random, but it's fine. We've got a little tailoring area over here, and then things get a little wacky with this Gorman frog shrine. I even used some stone walls in here, which I think works nicely to partition the large area. On day 266, I discovered 2 more ostrich eggs, so I made 2 more incubators. I now had 5 going at once, which may have been overkill, but I do love me an ostrich. I did a bunch of chores, bought about 12,000 stone, and crafted 75 crystallariums and expanded my empire. I think I was up to about 400 crystallariums at this point. While I was down there, I stumbled upon my guy Trash Bear, which reminded me that one of my goals was to complete this fella's quests. He wanted a red snapper, and I didn't have one handy, so I popped a rain totem to guarantee rain tomorrow, which is necessary for red snapper to spawn. I caught Trash Bear's red snapper on day 267, but ironically I couldn't give it to him because apparently he doesn't come out in the rain. I greeted a new ostrich named Stretch. I then bought a small cap from the island trader for 30 taro tubers. I popped some golden eggs into mayo machines, and I'd never done this before, so I was curious what kind of mayo would be produced. I then hit up the mines with monster musk and farmed some bat wings, which I need for more monster musk. I got 138. I greeted Smaug the golden chicken on day 268, as well as Gollum the ostrich. I collected the mayo, and it turns out golden eggs give 3 gold star mayo each. Very nice. I chopped down my 5 mushroom trees, but the mushroom hat eluded me still. I then hit up the volcano with monster musk and slogged all the way to level 9 with no luck, when suddenly, in a moment that defied belief, the tiger hat had dropped. A 1 in 1,000 chance, and after murdering slimes daily for so long, I finally had one. I also got a second deluxe pirate hat from a rare chest, so that was a nice bonus. That night, another gold chicken hatched, and I named it Bilbo. On day 269, I appeased the trash bear. I gave him the red snapper I caught a couple of days ago, then a bream, which I had handy in my chest, then a blackberry cobbler, which I was able to make with on-hand ingredients, and finally a crispy bass. After those 4 gifts, he was happy. So he played his pipes and cleaned up this area south of the sewers, and he Mary Poppins'd over here and gave the dog's house a glow up. I then did Mr. Key's no eating skull caverns quest again, earning 25 key gems. I collected almost 4 million gold worth of wine on day 270 and refilled some of the kegs as I went. I grabbed some animal produce, smelted some ore, and ran around putting tree fertilizer on any trees that hadn't grown yet, because I want to see what my farm looks like when they've all grown. On day 271, I helped the Junimos harvest all the starfruit, replanting as I went. And then I put all the starfruit in the remaining kegs. I also did a bunch of farm chores. You know how it is. On day 272, I picked and planted Ginger Island starfruit, bought and planted more mushroom tree seeds, and bought 5,000 gold ore from Clint and got to smelting. I rode Doofledingus south and collected almost 400 diamonds, most of which I sold, and placed 44 more diamond crystallariums. I was so close to finishing on the right side, but that's not even halfway. I then placed one final ostrich egg into incubate. Chores kept me busy until 12 PM on day 273. Can you believe that? I then took stock of the hats I still needed. Firstly, there was Emily's 14 heart hat. This one was a write-off, because there's no way I'm kicking Krobus out of my house. I also needed to get the trash hat, which was down to luck on my daily trash run. And of course, a mushroom hat, which refuses to drop. And I also need one key fruit to tailor into a hat. But for some reason, Mr. Key was refusing to offer me that quest, so as of yet, it had been impossible to find one. And that left the living hat, which as you know, has a 1 in 100,000 chance of dropping when you whack a weed. And lots of weeds spawn in the mines. So with a big sigh, I headed off to the mines to hit weeds. Now, if this doesn't prove my commitment to making these 100 days videos as good as possible, I don't know what else I can do. Hit like and subscribe for weed whacking. A golden chicken named Winner emerged forth on day 274. Being a Monday, I did my weekly check of Mr. Key's quests. And what do you know, he still refuses to give me the key fruit quest. I picked up the 50 loved gift quest instead. I gave out about 20 love gifts, and while doing the run, I stumbled upon George surrounded by his leak gifts, which he took to be an elaborate prank, so he threw them all out without opening them. Sorry, Evelyn. I then hit up the mines for some more weed whacking. Another golden chicken hatched on day 275. Welcome, C3PO. I gave out the rest of the 50 loved gifts, earning 40 key gems. I bought yet another 8 mushroom tree seeds and planted them before once again going to the mines to whack weeds. Day 276 was a best luck day, and considering the great amount of batteries, iridium ore, and gold ore I need for crystallarium, I figured I'd hit up the skull caverns. I got a good juicy haul. A new ostrich hatched on day 227, and I called it Domono, like the Pokemon Doduo, except with only one head, therefore Domono, get it? I collected a bunch of wine, bought 12,000 stone from Robin, and crafted 130 crystallariums. I then collected about 440 diamonds and started placing my freshly made crystallariums, but ran out of time. On day 278, I collected a spicy 1,000 plus iridium ore and 15 prismatic shards from the skull caverns. On day 279, 3 ostriches hatched. Ozzy, Flopneck, and Spiro. I decided to place some looms in my rabbit coop, as I might as well process the wool. Not the iridium wool though, as I discovered they actually sell for more than cloth. I also placed 24 mayo machines in the ostrich barn, which is way too many, but it's fine. I chopped down 5 mushroom trees, and you already know that I didn't get the flamin' hat. And I crafted 60 more crystallariums, and with that, I was yet again out of gold bars and stone. I crafted about 600 crystallariums at this point, costing 3,000 gold bars, or 15,000 gold ore, 1,200 iridium bars, or 6,000 iridium ore, and 600 batteries. Oh, and like 60,000 stone. This has been an expensive endeavor. Day 280 saw the birth of Gandalf the Golden Chicken. I collected some ostrich mayo, and it looks like these produced 10 at once. I noticed my lava eels wanted basalt, and I made the snap decision that I definitely couldn't be bothered getting it for them. At 12 PM, I tickled this bush here and received the giant Junimo plushie. This is something you have to do on the last day of each season, and today was the day that I finally remembered to do it. I gave the plushie pride of place over here. I bought some more gold ore as well as radishes, which I planted. They'll die tomorrow, but they'll keep the spots watered in preparation for pumpkins. To round out a fruitful summer, I collected starfruit the Junimos had collected and filled up a bunch of kegs. Welcome, fall, it's day 281. Decadent the Golden Chicken joined us, and I harvested a bunch of starfruit from Ginger Island, but I only replanted about 180 seeds, as I need to begin designing the farm and I have big plans. I checked Mr. Key's quest and there was no key fruit quest yet again, so I accepted the flamin' loved gifts one. I sold my starfruit wine to Pierre and bought almost 2,000 gold ore and about 7,000 stone towards crystallariums. Luckily, I already had about 1,000 pumpkin seeds on hand, so I planted those and once again was thankful for the very handy deluxe speed grow automatic dispensers. My 12th and final ostrich hatched on day 282, and I named her Buffhead. That is a barn full of ostriches. A glorious triumph after the great ostrich failure of my 200 days video. I then went about giving people gifts. While doing the rounds, I randomly stumbled into Elliot's book reading cutscene, where he read his sci-fi epic and half the crowd disappeared somewhere in there, so I'm guessing it may have been a bit boring. I crafted 36 more crystallariums and began collecting diamonds, but ran out of time because it takes forever to navigate the maze. On day 283, my continued love gifts rampage earned me my 40 key gems. While on my travels, Leah informed me she's making a killing selling her art online to a mysterious buyer named Mr. K, who I'm pretty sure is her ex. And while on my trash run, I got the garbage hat. My days of sifting through trash are at an end. I also got a good haul from the Crane game, getting these serpent pillars and a movie poster. I watched the most random horror movie I've ever seen and then put 56 more crystallariums down and filled all of these up with diamonds. On day 284, I collected one half of my kegs that were ready and headed off to begin on the Ginger Island farm. The plan here is to have every single growable crop present. I wanted to group them in seasons, so I began figuring out how to best utilize the space, which was kind of tricky. I continued my good work on day 285, which involved rounding up 5 of every seed type so that I can begin planting. I put spring crops in this top line with 4 of each planted in alphabetical order, complete with a wooden sign with the seed type on it. I managed to get all the spring crops planted, and I think it looked cooler in my head, but hopefully it'll come together once the crops have grown and everything else is done. On day 286, I got the summer crop section down, bought about 1200 gold ore and 999 coal, as well as a ton of stone, and also bought one of each sapling, which I planned to plant on the Ginger Island farm. I did my farm chores, greeted a new golden chicken and named her Crispy, and went for a weed whack in the mines to cap the day off. No luck on the living hat. On day 287, I harvested ancient fruit and kegged them, collecting starfruit wine as I went. My 12th and final golden chicken hatched, and I named her Queen. By the way, to fit the 12 golden chickens in, I ended up selling some of these rabbits I bought earlier. Don't worry though, Douglas survived. I hit up the mines whacking weeds yet again, and believe it or not, after a huge day desperately destroying weeds, as 2 AM was fast approaching, I ran to whack these 2 final weeds, and in an incomprehensible twist, I passed out without finding the living hat. I thought about changing the color of my farm buildings on day 288, but the best I could come up with is this abomination, so I decided the default colors are perfect for me. I cut down my 8 mushroom trees, and it was a familiar story with a complete lack of fungus hats. I received no key fruit quest either, but rather the same flamin' 50 loved gifts quest. This bloody quest, man, it's gonna kill me. I then did a little more work on the Ginger Island farm and headed off to collect almost 700 diamonds and place 56 more crystallariums. I was happy about another thunderstorm on day 289 because I need all the batteries I can get if I'm gonna finish my crystallarium empire. I then decided today was the day to tailor all my hats, minus the key fruit hat, which I'd pretty much given up on. And so I got busy with the sewing machine. I crafted 3 party hats, a blobfish mask, dwarf helm, pumpkin mask, totem mask, dino mask, and the list goes on. I kept the fashion hat on my head, as I am indeed very fashionable. I then gave out about 30 loved gifts for the flamin' quest, which I was thoroughly sick of, but I wanted key gems to give me another shot at the mushroom hat, so I made myself do it. I bought 2500 gold ore and some stone and finished the day with chores around the farm. I harvested starfruit from Ginger Island on day 290 and cleared the area. I collected batteries and moved these solar panels to make space and finished giving loved gifts. I used the 40 key gems I earned to buy 8 more mushroom tree seeds and place them out of the way over here. I then collected these Junimo pumpkins and replanted more pumpkins. I ended the day collecting starfruit wine and putting starfruit and pumpkins in the kegs. On day 291, I collected some more wine and kegged all my pumpkins, and then got back to designing the Ginger Island farm. I planted all the fruit tree saplings down the middle with spring trees at the top, summer in the middle, and fall at the bottom. I ran out of room though, so the pomegranate tree got rejected. Unfortunately, these won't grow fully before 300 days, but the plan would have been to chuck stone tiles around them once they were big boy trees. I put down all the 4 crops, and this last spot at the end would have been for sweet gem berries, but I have no rare seeds. Hopefully the traveling cart gives me one tomorrow. I finished the day preparing a spot for the remaining miscellaneous crops. On day 292, the traveling merchant withheld a rare seed from me, but I continued my work on Ginger Island regardless. I planted the miscellaneous crops, ancient fruit, pineapples, taro root, and tea saplings. Tea saplings don't need the sprinkler, but they deserve a feature, so it's fine. I also chucked down the pomegranate tree over here because he deserves a feature too, and then worked on filling in the empty areas with some decorative features. On day 293, I did some more work on the little sitting area down here here and then collected 750 diamonds and placed 42 more crystallariums. At this point, I was very worried I simply wasn't going to have the batteries I needed to finish this area. On day 294, I made a proper chest area on Ginger Island and designed all this space around my house, including an obligatory Gorman frog shrine, as well as the plonking down of a bunch of repetitive plants. I checked Mr. Key's weekly quest one last time on day 295, and the bloke had nothing for me except the flamin' loved gifts quest for the 85th time in a row. I guess it's no key fruit mask for me. Also, I refuse to do that quest again. I cut down my last 8 mushroom trees too, and they refused to yield me their hat. That is 2 hats consigned to the cemetery in one day. The only hat I can possibly still get is the living hat, but I'd rather try guarantee I finish my crystallarium empire. And so, off to the skull caverns I went. I got to level 50, popped monster mask, and focused exclusively on killing iridium bats. I found 2 spiral levels absolutely full of them, which was spicy, and managed to get 15 batteries. On day 296, I popped some more monster mask and farmed bats in the mines to ensure I can craft a few more monster mask, and then it was straight to the skull caverns killing them purple bats, where I farmed myself another 15 batteries. This method was honestly more effective than I thought it would be, and my hope of completing the sea of crystallariums was rekindled. It was the same deal on day 297. Give me them purple bats. Give me them batteries. But even though I spent the full day there, I somehow only got 15 batteries again. On day 298, I spent the first half of the day using my final monster mask and managed to snag 9 more batteries. I collected about 40 more batteries from Ginger Island solar panels and then crafted 87 crystallariums. I didn't think it was going to be enough, but I managed to fill up the area with 2 crystallariums to spare. My most ambitious and ridiculous goal for this entire 300 days was complete. In total, that is almost 900 diamond crystallariums. On day 299, I placed diamonds in the empty crystallariums I placed yesterday, and while there, I realized I could optimize slightly to fit a few more, so I did. I planted more pumpkins once my Junimos had harvested, cleaned up a billion truffles, and then hit up the mines with hope in my heart that I might find a living hat. But nope. On day 300, I planted some grass in the barn area because I want it to look pretty when I do my 300-day perfection farm tour. I then reflected on what I'd achieved. Of my 4 big goals, I completed 3. I got perfection ages ago, I completed my sea of crystallariums, and if I may say so myself, my farms are now beautifully decorated. I didn't quite achieve my hat goal, but I got 88 out of 92, so that's not too bad. I managed to complete all the minor goals too. I've got a coop full of golden chickens and a barn full of ostriches. I convinced the trash bear to work his magic, and I obtained a bunch of cool items. But technically, I still had a little more time to try and get my 89th hat, and I owed it to myself and to you guys to try one last time for the living hat. And after a long slog, spam resetting level 15 and level 25 of the mines looking for weeds, I passed out at 2 AM, empty-handed yet again. My day 300 miracle was not to be. My 300 days have come to an end. If you made it all the way to the end and you somehow aren't subscribed, help a brother out, but other than that, much love and see you real soon. Check out this outrageous video in which I level fishing without ever actually fishing. Cheers.